Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at the House of Swing, Jazz and Lincoln Center, here in the heart of Columbus Circle here in New York City. It's been well over 11 years since the last time I sat down and broke bread with political activist as well as jazz vocalist Paula West. Over the last 3 nights here at Dizzy's, here at Jazz at Lincoln Center, she sold out every single show, 6 shows. And she brought her very unique range of songs and composers, interpretations from Stevie Wonder to Bob Dylan to Antonio Carlos Jobim, just to name the many endless few. Tonight here on the Pace Report, you're going to see highlights of her show, but we also sit down and catch up and we talk about how, one, she survived the pandemic, as well as we sit down and talk about how politics, music, and art is a bridging gap to bring fans of all musical as well as political ideologies together in one room, as well as we sit down and reflect on some very important musical influences. Also, we sit down and talk about the art of performing. So sit back, relax, and enjoy highlights of the incomparable Paula West performing live here at Dizzy's, here at Jazz at Lincoln Center, here on the Pace Report, here in New York City.
I have dreamed that your arms are lovely. I have dreamed the joy you will be. I have dreamed every word you whisper when you're close to me. How you look in the glow of evening. I have dreamed and enjoyed of you. And these dreams I've loved you so that by now I think I'll know what it's like to be loved by you. I will be loved by you.
I am so honored to sit down with you again. It's been a long time.
Yes, it has.
Um,
The last time, as you said, was when the Jazz Standard was open.
yeah, and we got through COVID. You went online. You went through some very personal things, health-wise,
Yes.
and you look well and swell. 2 sold-out shows. Tonight's another sellout. What's going on with Paula West right now?
I'm trying to sing whenever I can, and I'm very fortunate to work with the guys that we have here tonight. You know, whenever I can, they come out to San Francisco when I'm doing stuff at the San Francisco Jazz Center. Also, I think the thing that I really need to do is make a recording. It's time. It's been way too long,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm headed. I have to do it because it's been a lot of material I've learned since that time. Also.
And you know, the road is always kind to you because in the time that you're singing these songs have a different life to them. How do you know what to bring and how to experiment with the songs? Because that's got to be hard, establishing a repertoire.
It is and it isn't. I mean, because I still have a queue of songs that I still want to learn. But like I said, it's been a while since the recording, and you just can't go to have people come to your show and do the same thing over and over again. You have to make things fresh. And one thing is, finding new material, and you can't have the exact interpretation of what somebody else is doing. You got to change it around. That's why I've done a lot of Dylan the last several years. I did all Dylan show in SF Jazz, and it was sold out. I would love to do an all Dylan thing like in the Appel Room or something. I would love to do that because these are new standards. They've been around 50 plus years now. So it's not just that traditional Great American Songbook anymore.
I did an interview with Dee Dee many, many years ago, and talking with her over the years, Dee Dee Bridgewater, you know, she has said that she's done with the American Songbook, meaning that, and I get her drift. I mean, we've made Cole Porter, we've made Lorenz Hart, we've made these guys a lot of money, but now it's time to start singing our material. I mean, Dylan is very important. Smokey Robinson is very important. Leonard Cohen, Stevie Wonder, Leonard Cohen, Joni Mitchell. Has jazz right now, what you're seeing with the male vocalists and female vocalists, do you think that there's a real, or trying to connect with contemporary as opposed to singing the standards?
Some people. I do a little both, but I'm doing, you know, a lot more contemporary than I've ever done. So you don't have to have this, like you said, you don't have this whole program of Cole Porter and Rodgers and Hart and Irving Berlin, and you know, you can mix it up.
Right.
And the exciting thing also is like you do somebody like Bob Dylan, you know, white man, folk singer. I'm a black woman singing the material. It kind of changes it around, and it's very empowering.
Right.
Because you know he was talking about some woman doing that, and I get to turn that around at the man, and it's very it really it's the best route to go. To do some of these tunes. I do Glenn Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and let's get away from popular music. We even have master jazz composers that we now are putting in the forefront, like Wayne Shorter. We've been doing it with Duke Ellington and Billy Strayhorn, but we got Christian McBride, who's been doing some fantastic things.
Yeah.
We have Pat Metheny, who's been doing some, even the composer, I've interviewed her, with the big band.
Maria Schneider.
Maria Schneider. We're in an era now where we have some contemporaries, or your contemporaries, that we can really start shedding some light and reinvestigating their music as well.
Yes. There's a lot of material to cover, and everything will never be covered. You can't say, it's all been done before, because it hasn't.
Right.
Once upon a time you dressed so fine, through the bumps of dime in your pride, didn't you? People call, say, beware doll, you're bound to fall, you thought they were all kidding you. You used to laugh about everybody that was hanging out. Now you don't talk so loud. Now you don't seem so proud about having to be scrounging for your next meal. How does it feel? How does it feel to be on your own, like a complete unknown, like a rolling stone? You're going to the finest schools, alright, Miss Lonely, but you know you only used to get juiced in it. Nobody's ever taught you how to live out on the streets, and now you're gonna have to get used to it. You said you never All the doors and the clowns, they all did tricks for you. Never understood that it ain't no good. You shouldn't let other people make your kicks for you. Used to ride on your chrome horse with your diplomat, who carried on his shoulders a Siamese cat. It ain't hard when you discover that he really wasn't where it's at. After he took off everything, he could see it. Oh, does it feel? How does it feel? Tell me all.
I did some very interesting research on you.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I think this is.
I was never convicted. All right, go ahead.
I found something very interesting that you said about a musician, a couple of vocalists. Pearl Bailey.
Oh, I love her.
I think a lot of people did, but Pearl Bailey and Della Reese, they were always acting. They would do cabaret. They would do gospel. They did a little bit of everything. And Pearl Bailey, I think, is a very unsung vocalist because some of her music was kind of blue, what we call blue. But I think that some of the stuff that she did, just people kind of slept on. What attracted you to Pearl Bailey?
First, the album covers. When they still had albums, I would get like Pearl Bailey, Eartha Kitt,
Yeah.
Della Reese, and those kind of, those people. And then the titles of the songs, some can be very risque. Now, when I'm more in a cabaret setting, I do the Pearl Bailey, like I Want to Get Married, Legalize My Name, Tired, and things like that. And people love it because you're listening to the lyrics. They're very clever. And she had a great way with delivery.
Yeah.
With everything she did.
And she could tell a story.
Oh, yes.
She could tell a story.
Yes.
She was married to Louis Bellson,
Yes.
right? The drummer, right?
Yes.
Now, Pearl also, she recorded with some very important heavyweights, too. Why do you think that she's kind of lost in the shuffle in history as far as vocalists that we don't...
How are we supposed to find out about her now?
That's crazy.
How are we...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't really, she's not prominent if you're going to buy CDs. You don't want her art. I felt should play Pearl Bailey was Queen Latifah.
She'd be perfect. Yeah, she would be perfect. Yeah.
They need to have a film about her.
Yeah.
I think would help. And I always thought Queen Latifah would be perfect. She resembles her.
Yeah.
Queen Latifah can sing.
Yeah. And we talk about the great masters also, and you're a huge fan of Carmen McRae. And Carmen had a little sass to her that that's kind of one of her trademarks. Carmen did things differently as opposed to her contemporaries. Tell my viewers what she brings or what she brought to jazz music.
Her delivery, she told the story. She can swing like nobody. I mean, everybody. I mean, she was just great. And I felt like, in that, when we all talk about great jazz vocalists, I always say Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan, and Ella Fitzgerald. Carmen's right there.
Yeah.
She was right there. I was lucky enough to see her once when she was recording the Monk CD.
Really?
In San Francisco at the Great American Music Hall. So I'm glad I got to see her then. But she was always everything she did, and she can sing anything, and she could put it. Sometimes you hear her doing a standard, and then you hear another recording, and it's entirely different, the arrangement and everything. She was smart.
Bringing that up, I noticed that you can do about 2 or 3 different sets. You can do the cabaret style. You can fill a jazz room just like Dizzy's, and you can also play the big room. How do you compare and contrast, and how do you put together your set list and songs when you're performing in a cabaret as opposed to Dizzy's
A
like tonight?
cabaret room. Well, Dizzy's is intimate too. Cabaret room. There's not very many of those kind of places left, but we have Feinstein's at the Nico in San Francisco, which I do a couple times a year. And that's when you do that kind of material. It's very, really about emphasis on the lyrics. And that's when I would do the Pearl Bailey stuff, or Ethel Waters, that people aren't necessarily familiar with, and tell them a little bit about these people. So, I would do something like Legalize My Name, I Want to Get Married, Ethel Waters, great stuff that she did. Those are two favorites. I did an Ethel Waters thing at SF Jazz a few years ago. But somebody should do a Pearl Bailey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So you have to know the room, what you're going into. Jazz festival, they just want to move.
Yeah.
People just want to move and swing. Minimalize the amount of ballads you have. Unless you're Barbra Streisand or somebody, you got to pick up the pace a little bit there. People want to swing.
Yeah, you got to cram a lot in 70 and 80 minutes. That's rough. That is, especially the large jazz setting. San Francisco's always been good to you. It's home for you. The music scene is a little different than New York or say Los Angeles or DC.
Well, I don't think anything's like New York.
Yeah,
I don't think there's nothing like New York.
You got that right.
I think they got the best musicians here.
Yeah.
San Francisco, we started actually getting some more little clubs there going on after COVID that appear to be working. There's the Keys Bistro. There's a place called the Dawn Club and Mr. Tipples.
Wow.
That, it's not as big. Nothing's as big as, SF Jazz Center. And Yoshi seems to not have jazz much anymore. They do more R&B.
R&B, right. Do you think that the time that you came out, it was perfect for you in that environment because you started off as a waitress and then you ended up singing these clubs. What are some of the things that you tell young vocalists that they're going to have to do if they really want to cut their teeth in this music and in this industry?
Well, I haven't really talked to anybody. But I mean, first of all, you need to love what you do. Because if you don't love it, do something else, really. So you have to be, you really have to be passionate about what you're doing. And I also feel like, I do feel like some younger people, vocalists and musicians, don't go into the past. A lot of them don't have reverence for the history. And you have to acknowledge that. And because I think the great music was written by, I'm not saying there isn't great music now, but you should know some of that stuff. When I first started, you go to jam sessions, musicians you could call out of tune. You wouldn't be able to do that now because they wouldn't know it. Even if you have the chart, they don't even know that, they've never heard it. You go, who's that by?
Wow.
Oh, it's a Cole Porter, They don't even know the songs. I can say that about most of the younger musicians.
Wow. Is that by choice, or do you think that YouTube and this technology has spoiled the younger generation?
Well, it's their choice whether they want to just listen to YouTube and stuff, right? You have a choice to educate yourself,
right,
and learn from the past and know what a good melody is, no matter when it's written.
Right.
And some people try to do a standard and they go right in improvising without even doing the melody at all. And they think they're being clever, but they're, you're not that clever.
Right.
Thought that evening's empire has returned into sand, vanished from my hand, left me blindly here to stand, but still not sleeping. While weariness amazes me, I'm branded on my feet. I have no one to meet, and my ancient empty streets too dead for dreaming. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle I'll come following you. Take me on a trip upon your magic swirling ship. The senses have been stripped. My clothes can't seem to fit. My toes too numb to step. Wait only for my boot heels to go wandering. I'm ready to go anywhere. I'm ready for the fate. Not to my own parade. As your dancing spell my way, I promise to go wandering. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle, jangle morning, I'll come following you. Though your mind here laughing, spinning, swinging madly across the sun, it's not aimed at anyone, it's just escaping on the run. And but for the sky, there are no fences facing. And if you hear vague traces of skipping reels of rhyme, your tambourine in time, it's just a magic cloud behind. I wouldn't pay it any mind. It's just a shadow, no seeing that he's chasing. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. I'm not sleepy and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle, jangle morning, I'll come following you. You take me disappearing through the smoke rings of my mind, down the foggy ruins of time, far past the frozen leaves, the haunted frightened trees, out to the windy beach, far from the twisted reach of crazy sorrow. Yes, to dance beneath the diamond sky, burning, waving free, silhouetted by the sea, circled by the circus sands, without memory and fate, driven deep beneath the waves. Let me forget about today until tomorrow. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. Not sleepy and there is no place I'm going to. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. In the jingle jangle morning, I'll come following.
You don't write a lot of your material, but you do sing and you dive into the songbooks. And one thing that I really have always admired about you, I was in college when I first, in fact, I was working at a radio station when I was at the University of Memphis, and the DJ gave me your CD, Temptation. And I put it on and I said, I hadn't heard anything like this in a while. And I mean that because Cassandra Wilson was out doing her thing, yes. Diana Krall was doing her thing, but this was a little independent, intimate, and very quaint selection of songs that moved me.
Oh, thank you.
How did, looking back at Temptation now, what are some of the things that you would have done better, or what you would have continued to do when you put that album out?
What do you mean continued to do?
Is the formula that made it work. It was a great record. The selection, the songs, everything on the arrangements, everything was great.
I did 3, other recordings too, and
Right.
I think I try to follow that. Putting on a recording is different than going to a show. So when you put on a recording, you want people to keep putting on that recording. Or at least when they used to, people had more physical CDs. They'd have one in their vacation home, have one in the car, maybe at the office. But it's something that or their dinner party or whatever. And doing that is different than putting on a live performance. Some people are great at live performances, but their recordings, you don't want it,
Right.
So you got to customize it for the situation.
That's funny you said that. The great Phil Ramone, God rest his soul, he wrote about Billy Joel. And he said what was lacking in Billy Joel in the albums before he decided to produce them was that he wanted to capture what he heard live and put it on the record. Do you find that that's easy or hard, or is that something that you kind of have to have a balance? You have to do a little bit of live, but you also have to have the intimacy of kind of working out your ideas in the studio.
I think, well, like I said before, the recording is something that it's a certain mood pattern. It doesn't go, up and down. So, and Dinah Krall was good about that. When she became big and everything. But I don't know if you have to do it live. You could do the whole thing live and it could be effective. You've got the right techno people, knowing what to do.
Right.
So it can work either way.
Wow.
Or a mixture.
Performing, we're kind of out of COVID now. What have you noticed now about the music scene now that you're performing and going around the world? Have you noticed there's a change? Do you notice that more people are wanting to come out and see you?
I think people want to come out as much as they can to see things because we were locked up, really. And of course, as the performers, everything was shut down.
Right.
And I was really fortunate enough to have some very nice situations when I did my virtual shows.
Right.
And especially the first one, because I had the benefit of Ken Folk. He's a designer and architect, and he has this beautiful space called St. Joseph Art Society. It's huge, and he let me do my concerts there. And, we made sure that we had really good quality people that knew how to, it could go all over the world,
right,
what was happening. And, people said, oh, we're getting dressed up on our sofa. We're going to have a signature cocktail. And they were really, serious about it. It was the next best thing to being there.
Right.
Because it was terrible when that happened.
Yeah. You've also have been very adamant about politics and getting people to get very, very engaged with what's going on in the world right now. Has it been hard? Because I know we talked the other day. You said I just tune them out. And I'm with you. I believe that you're only as strong as your beliefs in music. Going back to Bob Dylan, Odetta, Harry Belafonte, Joan Baez. There is a list of people that were on the front lines,
yes,
but recorded songs about the front lines.
Yes.
And I think that that's very important, what you're doing in your shows.
I do that. I'm going to do a big politics show like I did before in October, before November. And, I kind of customize it depending what the hell's going to be going on at that time. Some of it already. But, I think it's important to speak out. I know people that are afraid to do that. They go, well, I'm going to lose my audience. I said, no, you're not. I've always had this conviction of, what I believe in. So that audience is the audience that comes to see me.
Right.
And it's only grown because of telling the truth, or what I feel is the truth. I think it's the truth. I'm sorry. You're wrong. Some of these people are just, you're wrong.
Right, right. And we are in an era now where, it's the United States right now is just very polarized.
Yeah.
We got one here and we over here, and there's really nothing in the middle. And this music seems to bring everybody together. That's the common denominator. Yeah. Unless you drink alcohol or you smoke marijuana, but that's another vice. That's a different vice. But it seems like you know how to touch people with communicating what you're trying to talk about. And I think people are kind of at a point where we got to start doing something. What do you tell musicians now at this point of the career? How to infuse that? Because rap music did it very well. Folk music did it very well. You're doing it with jazz. We don't see that too much with jazz music.
I think some people don't feel it's important enough for them. There's just some people that I just want to, I want to just play, let me play what I want to do, and they don't want to stir up anything, possibly. And I just I can't go day to day not saying something about what's happening,
Right.
And I try to just watch the news in the morning, like sum it up, what happened today.
Right.
And excuse me, especially when that monster was in the office, what did the MF say today?
Yeah.
And so I can get on. But I have to know, we all should be aware of what's happening, and people have to get out and vote, and the younger people have to get out and vote. And just, if you're going to talk about Biden, okay, but look what's worse. I mean, if you have to be pragmatic too. You have to be pragmatic. Don't go third party. That's not going to help anybody. Don't say, well, I'm not going to vote. I just can't. No, we have to vote.
Ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe, if you don't know right now. Ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe, it'll never do, you know how. When your rooster crows at the break of dawn, look out your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason I'm traveling on. Don't think twice, it's alright. Ain't no use in turning on your light, babe, the light I never know. Ain't no use in turning on your light, babe, I'm on the dark side of the road. Still I wish there was something you can do. Hear you anymore. Ain't no use in calling out my name, God. I can't hear you anymore. But I'm a thinking and a wondering and walking down the road. I once loved a man, a child I told. I'd given my heart, he wanted my soul. Don't think twice, it's alright. So long, honey, babe, where I'm bound, I can't take goodbye's too good a word, babe. So I'll just say fairly well. I ain't said treated me unkind. Could have done better, but I don't mind. You just kind of wasted my precious time. Don't think twice, it's alright. Don't think twice, it's alright. Well, alright.
Paula West, what does Black American music mean to you?
Everything. It's the foundation. Some people need to acknowledge that at times if they're not. we know, we go to a lot of jazz clubs, it'll be 90-95% white. And I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you coming out, but I'd like to see my people come out more often.
What do you think has triggered that off? What has caused that? I agree with you. I feel like, I mean, there are a couple of black journalists that are really out here doing what we're trying to do to keep this music out there, but I don't see a lot of people, black folk, out here supporting our music anymore.
Well, I think a lot of it actually can stem from their parents, what your parents listen to. That's important. You know, if you got parents that aren't listening to that kind of music. Also, you know, when I grew up, music was mandatory in the schools. You either had to be in choir, you had to play an instrument, or, you know, delve into the arts, but it was mandatory. I don't think most schools require that now, and unfortunately, a lot of that can cost money that people don't have. And I believe if anybody wants to pick up an instrument, money should not be a detriment to that.
Right.
And that's a big thing, and it's exposure in education. And our parents are not exposing us to this music. That's unless you have a mentor. You have someone mentoring you, and you know, because I do believe if you listen to it, it'll catch on. You might go off into, you know, urban music and things, but you'll come back to it. You will come back to it because it's great and it's not going away. But we don't want to see the audiences dwindle for that.
When you were coming into Black American music, when you started to sing music, were you drawn more into jazz? Were you drawn more into gospel, or were you drawn more into the blues?
Well, it's all together.
It's right.
In a certain, you know.
Right. Because the church always
Yeah.
produced some of the great
Yes.
everything. But
Yes.
some people who I've asked this question to, they said, well, when I was a kid, I used to listen to Mahalia Jackson. I used to listen to the Clark Sisters. Or some would say, oh, I would listen to Roberta Flack, Aretha Franklin. What was it that drew you into the music?
I was always drawn to lyrics, and they had great, you know, melodies to it, so I was drawn to it that way. But I've had a great appreciation for just about every type of music. Maybe not heavy metal, but just about every other genre. I went to my first opera because we had it in the schools when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
So I played clarinet growing up, so I was, you know, definitely exposed to music.
What was the first concert that you went to? First rock or soul concert?
That might have been Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
I saw Stevie Wonder back in the day.
So you saw him when he did
Late 70s.
the albums.
Mm-hmm.
So you got him in the Visionary era, the
Yes.
whole okay.
Yes.
So Wonder Love and okay.
And I also, you know, saw Earth, Wind and Fire. I was listening to a lot,
Right.
you know, concerts when you talk about big concerts. But, you know, then in my 20s, I saw Run DMC before they made it big. In a place of 120 people. And I saw James Brown before he made his comeback in that same place.
Wow.
You know, he was like right here.
Okay.
There's a lot of different types of music I like. And people would be surprised, you know. You know, I don't have a car, but when I drive in a car, what am I listening to when I'm, you know, on the road? And it could be anything. It just depends on what mood. I mean, and also I love, you know, when I was like, you know, 5, Julie Andrews. I listened to Julie Andrews as a little kid, Mary Poppins, and Sound of Music, you know, and
There's nothing.
and she
wrong
had a
with that.
great diction and everything, and I enjoyed it.
Right.
I knew every song from Mary Poppins, and I would, you know, had the album. And my father, primarily, you know, he had classical music, but he had like Ray Charles, of course. Loved Ray Charles, but he had Brenda Lee and some people, you know. But I enjoyed it.
Right. Right.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at the House of Swing.
Jazz and Lincoln Center here in the heart of Columbus Circle here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank the incomparable Paula West for her time. For more information on her upcoming tour dates, please follow her online at MissPaulaWest.com and follow her on social media by way of Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'd like to personally thank the staff and management here at Dizzy's, as well as Jazz and Lincoln Center for their warm hospitality. For more information on directions as well as upcoming shows here at Dizzy's, please visit them online at jazz.org. As always, people, I can't stress this more than enough. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos and leave comments on YouTube as well as Vimeo. Also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.
10 cents a dance, that's what they pay me. Gosh, how they weigh me down. 10 cents a dance, pansies and rough guys, tough guys who tear my gown. 7 to midnight I hear drums, loud as the saxophone blows. Trumpets are tearing my eardrums, customers crush my toes. Sometimes I think I've found my hero, but it's a queer old man.